Oh hey guys, we're here to mess around with one of my favorite plants, the Rotala H'Ra? H'Ra? Am I saying that right? I don't know. It's okay. This is an East Asian plant. The green variety is what's called easy. The H'Ra was what people would call intermediate. Don't worry too much about that. This plant is relatively easy if you have some decent lights, a little bit of CO2, and pick whatever fertilizer you like. Of four things: light, CO2, fertilizer, decent substrate, probably in that order. With CO2, this plant is going to turn at least orange. I acquired this plant because it was going to turn orange, and that's what the color that I was looking for to accent this scape. And as you can see, starts out low down here and it's orange. By the time it gets way up to the top, it starts to turn super red. But that's okay, because just as a reminder, we got to keep this one trimmed, otherwise it will grow into a big giant unsightly mass like it is halfway trimmed right now. We're going to pull out the stems, trim off the tops, and replant them so that we can propagate it the way that we want to accent the aquascape as opposed to how it's planted right now. Why is it planted the way it is right now is because I was able to get this culture of plant right here, this actual plant, from Kevin all the way down in Oregon when I went down to the Willamette Valley Aquatic Society meeting, and I was looking to get some of this plant. Boom, guy hooked it up. Kevin, thank you very much, big shout out. I wonder if he'll comment down below in the comments. I'd go check, he might. Great guy, you know, great aquarium club. I love going down, driving all the way down to Oregon to meet up down there and have some fun. I also have some other things from having gone down to Oregon, so stay posted. We will make videos about that stuff as it comes up. This plant has relative ease. You don't have to worry too much about pH. You know, as long as you're in the middle range from 6.5 all the way to 7.5, in that range, you're going to be fine. I wouldn't be too stressed out about it otherwise, but a little bit of CO2 is helpful to maintain the pretty aggressive growth that this plant does. It kind of stifles out, the leaves don't grow as well, and it won't kind of climb around on things as it kind of spreads out if you don't have CO2. I use Easy Green fertilizer and Easy Iron in this tank. Those are the two fertilizers I'm using. My CO2 is injected into a reactor, which I have a video for if you guys want to make one yourself. Otherwise, there are some relatively good reactors out there that I would recommend at this point. If you like to go with a diffuser, I would say this is about between just 1 to 2 bubbles a second. It's nothing crazy. You don't need anything over the top as far as CO2 goes. And fertilizer, you know, I'm dosing about, I would say like a 70% dosing of Easy Green and Easy Iron right now, only about 2 times a week, because I'm trying to keep my maintenance back with how busy my schedule is. So maybe that's a tip that helps somebody out. Dial back your fertilizer, dial back your lights if you're out there on vacation.
I do the best thing I know how, nothing.
You've been down this road for far too long. He left your love behind. but still you keep on crawling back, despite the pain inside. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me. Your tears, they say 1,000 words. I've heard them all before. The ones who love the most, my dear, are the ones left hurting more. He broke you down with no remorse. Now who will heal the bruise? The one you want in your heart, standing right in front of you. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me. You can always trust in me. I'll show you a life that he can't see. You'll become who you've always wanted to be. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy.
You guys can notice that there are a few inhabitants in this tank. I do have a puffer in here that's swimming around. I got that Congo spotted puffer, the Tetraodon shroudedeni, I think is kind of accurate. I have a lot of cherry shrimps and snails and stuff like that growing in this tank, and not a lot of fish growing around it, but I will be adding it to some tanks. They do have some dither fish and things like that, so in the future I'll show you guys kind of the combination of how well this works with some of the smaller fish like tetras and stuff like that. This is a great plant for those smaller fish. It gives them a good space to, kind of seek cover when they want, or scatter eggs when they want and stuff like that. So if you do have some spawning and stuff like that, this is a great plant for that. As I mentioned, there's a green variety of this, which would be considered the air quote easy version, right? The reason for that is it's just a little less demanding in fertilizers and CO2. So it is a tank that you could basically have, very minimal fertilizer and not even CO2. It's just going to grow bright green and a little bit of it's a different varietal. So it's not that far off. But let's say you have a little bit of a simpler setup and you want to try a Rotala. The Rotala is a pretty easy, simple stem plant to grow. You want to try that, I would recommend to go with the green as opposed to the H'Ra, which does take a little bit more to deal with. But otherwise, it's a very simple plant and a great addition to the tank. And as you can see, aquascaping with it is a lot of fun because you can trim it and replant it in new spots very easily and just continue growing it and propagating it. And eventually, you will end up with some extras of this plant. So be prepared to trade it and move it around, give it away to somebody, any of that kind of stuff. Thanks for stopping by today. Subscribe or something, I don't know. It's one of my favorite. Are all the plants one of my favorite plants? We really got to ask ourselves that question because I keep talking about my favorite plant. They're all my favorite